Is there a walking a line between being an asshole and being truthful?
Yeah.
Now I'm talking about from a coaching or training perspective. Here's what we were, the Lakers the other night. There was an issue with Vanderbilt. Okay, where he got taken out. JJ Redick called timeout, and Vanderbilt came over, and they had some words, and he went out. He was taking Vanderbilt out the game, and they was asking him about it, and he was saying, Rui wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing, so I took him out, right? And then they was like, well, what happened with Vanderbilt? And he was like, well, there was some, disagreements and stuff on that, and I took him out. So everybody was saying, well, the thing about JJ Redick is, everybody says he's an asshole, but he's not an asshole. He's truthful. He's direct, right? He tells you how he feels. He tells you like it is, and it's up to you to do that. And I was like, and I started thinking, I was like, and it's like, oh, people got to stop being sensitive. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I think when you're walking that line, I think the difference between being truthful and an asshole is how you deliver the message. There's a way to deliver the message. Because I started asking myself, like, well, am I truthful or am I an asshole when I'm training these kids? And then I was like, I've never had a parent, even when I've gotten on a kid, I've never had a parent to question, or stop training with me because of that. Yeah. So I must know how to deliver the message. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When you talk about this subject, I am the poster child. My picture is right there. I'm just gonna be honest. It's partially how I grew up, just dead honest.
Yeah.
But about probably 5 years ago, we started, just talking a little bit more about business and things of that nature. And I learned how to rephrase things.
Yeah.
I'm still saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's not as harsh.
Right.
And so I've gotten better at that. My players have said, boy, you still need some help on that, coach. But I mean, you were very instrumental at helping me with that. I will say this as well. A lot of times it depends on who you are. Because two people can say the same thing.
Right, and it's heard differently.
And it's heard differently.
Yeah.
But for the most part, really how you say it is very important.
Yeah, I think you can deliver the same message. It's just like what you said. And I'm not even saying you gotta deliver it soft.
No.
When you're talking, you can be direct and upfront, but it's sometimes it's that extra stuff. I know there were times where people would tell me like what you said, and I'd be like, he said what?
Oh yeah.
I was like, no, he didn't.
Yeah, man.
But now it's different where, and it's like you still getting the message across.
Right.
And to your point, I think people have gotten to where they would rather you not tell them what they're doing wrong. And it's like you have to. That's what growth is about.
Completely, no excuses. I'm not trying to Stephen A. Smith anybody, but for me, sometimes when I curbed my delivery, they didn't get it.
Yeah.
They didn't get it. So for me, when you don't get it, I got to give you the shock value.
Right.
Right. And so that's where people say, oh, this guy's an a-hole, oh, that Coach Lee, man, I would never play for him. And then they talk to some of my players like, oh, man, he's funny.
Yeah.
He loves, man, Coach Lee loves his players. He'll do anything for them. Do you know he did this? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
That guy?
Yeah.
So it's, for me, I've always, from a coaching perspective, a teaching perspective, I've always seen this as a bank. I am going to put as many deposits in as possible. I'm going to show you that I care for you.
Right.
I'm going to show you that I love you. I'm going to give you, I'm going to show you I'm giving you everything I have.
Right.
So that when I need to get on you about something,
Right.
regardless of how I get on you, I've made those
Right.
deposits.
Right.
So I can withdraw.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, that's just how I see it. So I think being called an a-hole, you may not have enough deposits
Right.
to,
Now,
go at somebody like you need to.
some people, they have a lot of deposits. They're just a-holes. There's some people that
You're right.
and to
I've
your
been
point, what I usually tell people is I say you want to stay away from people who are always yelling. I said, because you think about it, all you hear is yelling. People get used to you just yelling. So now when you really need to make a point, you're going to yell.
Yeah, it's mute.
And I said, but the person who's soft-spoken, who never yells, when that person yells, everybody's attention snaps because that's not what that person usually does, right?
doubt.
So,
No.
yeah, I mean, I think it is. You have to walk a line, and I have to look at life. The craziest thing is, I'm not somebody who's out in the stratosphere. I mean, people know of the business, but I have to look at it and say, I have to be. I've never been, just for the record, I've never been an asshole, but I have to make sure that I'm extra, nice when it comes to certain things, because somebody could be saying, "Oh yeah, we saw the owner of Street Cred Sports, and he's this, and that, and don't go there because," and I don't want that. So I mean, but it's not really in my nature to be like that. I think I'm too nice. I think I'm too nice and too much of a people person with helping and stuff. But yeah, it's a fine line between walking that. And it was just interesting because when they said, well, he's not asshole, he's truthful. But when you look at how he talks, it's a condescending tone.
Absolutely.
It's a very condescending
JJ
tone.
Redick has a tone where he tries to create the narrative that you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And he is
Yeah.
superior, and so that's something I've never, ever wanted to ever do or try to do. But one thing I want to shout out you for is, when there were a plethora of people call me an a-hole, you smiled and said, you know what, he's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
And then he tilted his head to the left or right, would say, yeah, he's a little bit of both, but let's just see acquired taste.
Yeah, you are.
And that helped me. And I am acquired taste.
But I mean, it goes to reason because you don't have an organization and be as good of an organization as you've been for as many years. What is it, 14 years now?
I think so.
13 to 14 years. Carrier one.
Yeah.
You don't have an organization and be as successful as you are without being a good person, right? I mean, even if somebody has something that's good, if they're a really bad person,
People won't go there.
yeah, and it crumbles, right?
no doubt.
So you have to be a good person, and not everybody, will gravitate to the way you coach and the way you are. But the thing is that you're always honest with them.
Yes, I have to.
So as long as you're honest, and they know up front, then they have to make a decision. But
Correct.
yeah, we might have to make a list of people and say, is this person an asshole or is this person the truth?
I like that. That'd be good.
Who's walking the line? Who is it?